Han pasado más de 8 meses desde que 3 ingenieros colombianos permanecen retenidos en Medio Oriente. En esta historia hay más preguntas que respuestas y hoy nos encontramos con Catherine Vega para hablar sobre este caso. Catherine.
Alison, gracias y también a toda la audiencia que se conecta con nosotros. Precisamente vamos a hablar con el subdirector de la organización ALQS for Human Rights, Joshua Cooper, sobre este caso. La entrevista será en inglés y en los subtítulos podrán ver las respuestas en español. Así que pues vamos a empezar. Josh, thank you for joining us. To start with, what does your organization do?
Okay, thanks so much. And apologies, I don't speak Spanish. So yeah, I'll be speaking in English. My name is Josh Cooper. I'm the Deputy Director of ALQST for Human Rights, which is an NGO based in the UK, but which focuses on human rights in Saudi Arabia and was established by a Saudi human rights defender who's now based in the UK. So we work on human rights issues across the board in Saudi Arabia, from arbitrary arrests to executions to women's rights. Um, and in the last few months, we've recently been working on the case of these three Colombian engineers. So really appreciate the opportunity to speak more about this case.
Is this the first case of foreign national being detained?
It is primarily Saudi citizens and residents who we've documented in the past who have been arrested, and that's true. Yeah, most prisoners of conscience and those in prison are primarily Saudi citizens, but also that there are foreign nationals who are targeted, and this has been the case for some time. And also, in recent years, there have been more cases of foreign nationals from European and the global north countries like the UK or France who have also been detained, often for freedom of expression online. So this isn't a new trend, but yeah, the case of of Colombian nationals are the first that we've documented ourselves.
What information do you have so far about the 3 Colombian engineers?
Thank you. So, yeah, in a nutshell, there are three Colombian engineers, two of whom are a father and a son, and the third one is a US Colombian dual national. They were contracted to work in Yemen in April of last year until July 2025 to install civilian and commercial antennas in the city of Sana'a, in the capital of Yemen. However, when they finished their work in July 2025, they were unable to leave from Sana'a, where they had entered the country, because of the war and Israeli airstrikes. So after spending some time there, they were advised to go to South Yemen, to Aden, where they did go. But unfortunately, when they arrived in Aden, they were detained by security forces, and they were detained in late 2025 for around 3 months in Yemen in poor conditions. And yeah, their health deteriorated. And then sometime around January of this year, when Saudi led forces took control of Aden in the south of Yemen, they were then transferred to Saudi Arabia from Yemen without any due process. And after this, they lost any contact with their family. So they were forcibly disappeared. They've been forcibly disappeared in Saudi Arabia since January. And only just recently, the Saudi authorities shared very limited information that they are being held in a prison in South Saudi Arabia, in Abha, in the Asir region of Saudi Arabia. So we know they are being detained in Saudi Arabia, but beyond that, they are still without any contact with their families or lawyers or the Colombian embassy. So they're in a state of incommunicado detention for many months, with obvious concerns for their health and their well-being, and given the poor conditions in Saudi Arabia. So we have documented their case. We've submitted it to the UN Working Group on Enforced Disappearances, and have now released a press release and are encouraging media and stakeholders around the world to know about this case, and to apply pressure on the Saudi authorities to release them immediately.
Josh, who hired them?
So for this work, they were employed by a US-based company called Fahisia Solutions, and their contract, as I mentioned, was to install civilian antennas in Sana'a in Yemen, and it lasted for just 3 months from April to July 2025. So after that, they were envisaging that they would then return to their homes in Colombia.
Why were they arrested?
As I said, they were unable to leave Sana'a in Yemen. So they were arrested when they went to South Yemen and Aden and tried to leave the country from South Yemen. It's not clear the reasons as for their arrest. And since they were transferred to Saudi Arabia, the Saudi authorities haven't issued information about their charges. All they've said, the Saudi authorities, is that there's a security investigation ongoing and that they'll inform the Colombian authorities when this has concluded. But beyond that, we don't know what the charges are, if they've been brought to trial or anything else. So from ALQST perspective, we don't know the reasons. We don't wish to sort of speculate on the reasons, but all we can say for sure is it's incumbent on the Saudi authorities to provide more information and to, in the meantime, give them access to the lawyers, to their family, and ultimately to release them.
We understand the antennas were for civilian use, but could it be that it was precisely their operation that caught the authorities' attention?
Again, we wouldn't wish to speculate on the reasons because we don't have more information. But one thing we know for sure is the company Fahisia Solutions has provided a letter and wrote a letter to the Saudi authorities explaining the nature of the project and confirming that it was indeed for commercial purposes. So that is very much clear to us that it was a civilian project, and whether the Yemeni or Saudi authorities have genuine suspicions, we don't know. But what we know, as I said, is the whole process has been completely opaque, and their rights have been clearly violated, and the ordeal is very desperate and has gone on for far too long.
Was it a mistake to advise them to go to Adam?
Perhaps, again, wouldn't be so well placed to answer this, but obviously in hindsight, the decision for them to go to South Yemen and Aden is what then led to them being arrested. But also in Sana'a, there were airstrikes, and the security situation was not good. So I'm sure the advice was the best at the time, but unfortunately, following that decision, they were arrested.
Do you think the Colombian Foreign Ministry's actions have been enough?
In our experience, and we might not have all the details, but the Colombian authorities have been engaged and have written many times to the Saudi authorities asking for information and sending diplomatic communications. However, it's the Saudi authorities that have failed to respond adequately or give information. The Colombian authorities seem engaged and supportive, but I'm sure there's always more they could do. And now the case is becoming more public. I'm sure there are more tools at their disposal that they can use to really apply even more pressure on the Saudi authorities.
Do you have any idea why contact was lost with the three engineers?
When they were detained in Yemen, and their conditions in prison were terrible, filthy and very cramped. But they did have brief contacts with their family, and had a visit from the Red Cross in Yemen. However, as you say, when they were transferred to Saudi Arabia, they lost any contact with the outside world, were disappeared. As to why, this sadly is quite a common occurrence in Saudi Arabia. After someone is arrested, that they are subject to enforced disappearance without contact their families or lawyers. So this is really a systemic practice in Saudi Arabia of enforced disappearance for weeks or months or sometimes even years. In our eyes, that's the context really to this, and it shows that even foreign nationals and Colombian nationals are being treated in this way that many other victims in Saudi Arabia have faced.
What should the public know about this case?
I would, for the public, really focus on the bare essentials of the case, the horrific abuses that these individuals have faced, the human dimension, the fact they've been detained for many months without any contact with their families, who are obviously completely in a horrible situation of fear about their fate. So now it's in the public domain. I would just encourage anyone in Colombia, in other parts of the world, to take interest in the case and to try and use any leverage that they have to encourage the Colombian authorities to do what they can and to ensure their release as soon as possible. So thank you for covering it yourselves, and we hope that steps like this will pave the way for this ordeal to come to an end as soon as possible.
Thank you for your time, Josh. We'll keep an eye in this case and see what happens with these 3 Colombian engineers. Bueno, pues seguiremos muy atentos de los 3 ingenieros que están detenidos en esta compleja situación en Arabia Saudita, Alison.
Así es, Catherine, y pues para quienes quieran saber más sobre esta historia, pueden seguirnos en nuestro canal de YouTube Minuto60 y también ver la entrevista que le realizamos al hermano e hijo de 2 de los colombianos que se encuentran presos en Medio Oriente.
Esta y otras entrevistas podrán encontrarlas en nuestro portal de minuto60.com y, por supuesto, invitados a seguirnos en nuestras redes sociales. Mi nombre es Catherine Vega.
Yo soy Alison Rodríguez. Esto es Minuto60.
Un infinito de información.